And lastly, for me, champ, in the world of comparisons that we live in right now, if you can, compare and contrast the fight between yourself and Floyd Mayweather Jr. and tonight's bout with Terence "Bud" Crawford, if you can.
No, I think Crawford is way better than Floyd Mayweather.
Floyd, Money, Mayweather, and Terence, but Crawford nearly came to blows, live, in front of cameras, right after Crawford's shocking win over Canelo Alvarez. Security rushed in, entourages clashed, and for a brief moment it looked like boxing's past and present were about to explode in the same ring. No punches were thrown, but the tension said everything. The greatest of yesterday, Floyd Mayweather, staring down the greatest of today, Terence Crawford. It was the kind of moment that makes you wonder, was this real beef, or was Floyd just trying to spark controversy to stay in the spotlight? Because here's the truth, after Bud beat Canelo, the fight world spoke. Many are saying Crawford's legacy has now surpassed Floyd's. And that's where all this heat truly comes from.
You see all these fighters, they doing the shoulder roll, you see, yeah. And not knocking the guys that paved the way. And I want to come on record and say, I'm appreciative for guys like Sugar Ray Robinson and Muhammad Ali and Sugar Ray Leonard. So many guys that paved the way for me. But there's only one Floyd Mayweather. These fighters are not better than me. You look at the numbers, they say, oh, Canelo may end up beating more world champions than Floyd Mayweather. Well, he should, with almost, 80 and 90 fights, he should. I beat more world champions than any fighter in history. I'm 50-0, but half of my fights was world title fights.
For years, Floyd Mayweather sat comfortably as boxing's pound-for-pound king and the self-proclaimed TB, the best ever. He retired at 50-0, never beaten, never even knocked down, with wins over Pacquiao, Cotto, Canelo, and De La Hoya. But Crawford just flipped the script.
Thank you, GOAT, because you are the GOAT of this era. Terence "Bud" Crawford.
He's now a three-time undisputed champion, undefeated, and has conquered 5 weight divisions. And unlike Floyd, who is accused of cherry-picking opponents and fighting legends past their prime, Bud just fought and beat the face of boxing in his prime division.
It's wild, because if you look at Floyd's resume, it's much deeper than Crawford's. And Floyd was faster and he had a better defense and all that stuff. But Floyd picked and chose when he fought guys, especially once he left lightweight. He wiped out the junior lights, bring him. Lightweight, he jumps up to Jose Luis Castillo first thing. A lot of people think he lost the first fight, I didn't, but then he won the rematch. But once he left lightweight, he was careful about when he fought guys. So even though his resume is deeper with names, people remember, yeah, but he didn't want it with certain dudes at certain times. Crawford, we all witnessed, even though the resume is thin in certain ways, he wanted it with everyone the whole time. Oh, yes. That makes a difference to
Max Kellerman even said it himself. Floyd picked and chose when he fought certain guys, while Crawford wanted everyone the entire time. And that difference matters.
The second half of the fight put an emphasis on the fact that Bud was in fact outboxing him in the first half of the fight. It is one of the biggest wins in boxing history. And now let Uncle Max gather around, children, and I will explain this. This is the situation, guys. No one has ever been a 4-division champion in boxing. Not a real one. Oh, Pacquiao won 8 and Oscar De La Hoya won 11 and this one won 15. No, I'm talking about Ring Magazine champ or lineal champ. You are the champion of that division.
Get them all.
Forever, the record was 3 by Henry Armstrong. Manny Pacquiao was the first dude to really win 4. Floyd gets credit for 4 for beating Canelo, but that wasn't at the junior middleweight limit. I don't count that. Right. I don't count that. Right. Terence Crawford just joined Manny Pacquiao as the only legit 4-division champion in the history of boxing.
The numbers are close and both resumes are elite, but when it comes to taking risks, that's where Crawford shines. And that's why the fight world is buzzing. Did Crawford just become greater than Floyd Mayweather?
Those two, Crawford or Mayweather.
I think Crawford is better, bigger. He's actually he moving weight class, and I would say Crawford is a better fight all around fighter. Mayweather's really good too, though. You can knock him as well. He's very talented. It would have been a tough fight, but I think Crawford would have the edge over Mayweather because of the long arms and because he's bigger. You know what I'm saying? And he would have kept him at bay. It would have been hard for Mayweather to counter, maybe. But Mayweather's definitely a technician. I mean, like Crawford said, you know, Mayweather has his era, and Crawford, this is his era.
To understand why this debate is so heated, you have to rewind to the Canelo fight. Going in, almost everyone believed Crawford was simply too small.
Your favorite, Canelo or Crawford?
Canelo. Canelo, yeah.
What do you think is the most significant part of that matchup in Canelo being Canelo versus Crawford?
That he's comfortable at 168. You know, that he's been fighting there. He went and collected all the belts at that weight class. Crawford, of course, Crawford has a chance. He has a big chance, you know, being one of the pound-for-pound fighters of the world. But it's just the advantage of being there first. You know what to expect in that weight class. Crawford's coming off a 154 fight that he fought last year. So I really don't consider him even a 154. He's been fighting at 147 for a while. He had that one fight at 154, and then he stopped fighting for a year again. So, you know, of course he's probably been training, you know, again, high-class fighter. But to be comfortable at 168, you're going to have to do some fights in there. And going in there fighting the undisputed champion, it's going to take a toll.
Jumping up 2 weight classes against a natural 168-pounder like Canelo Alvarez sounded insane. But Bud didn't just survive, he outboxed him. Crawford circled, jabbed, countered, and picked Canelo apart. Canelo landed some heavy body shots, sure, but they didn't change the fight. By round 7, Crawford was standing toe-to-toe and winning exchanges. By round 12, it was clear. The judges scored it unanimous. With that win, Crawford didn't just prove himself. He made history as the first man to become undisputed in 3 different weight classes.
The Crawford-Canelo fight, and you had a Cavs hat on. This time you've got a GOAT hat on. Is that how you're feeling? I know it says Muhammad Ali, but is that how you're feeling about Bud's performance, about his whole career?
Yeah, I'm definitely feeling that way, man. GOAT. Greatest of all time, man. You gotta give it to him. You gotta give it to him. You gotta give it to his coaches. Not just me, Saul Red, Bernie, Chet, nutritionists. You know, everybody played a part.
Canelo said he's way better than Mayweather. What do you think to that?
Who, Terence?
Yeah.
Oh, of course. Of course. Of course he is.
And in doing so, he achieved something Floyd never attempted. He beat a bigger champion at that champion's natural weight. That's the root of Floyd's jealousy. Floyd has always been the master of narrative, the man who built an empire by calling himself money and reminding everyone of his perfection.
20 fights, 150 fights, 300 fights. Did I not beat the most world champions?
Yes, you did.
Okay. And in the least amount of fights?
Yes, you did.
Who got the highest gate?
Floyd Mayweather.
Who made the most money?
You did.
Who was the most accurate fighter of all time?
You were.
So it's basically saying that...
The greatest of all time.
Okay.
All right.
But now the spotlight is on Crawford. Bud is being hailed as the new pound-for-pound king. Analysts are openly debating whether he's greater than Floyd. Fans are saying he dared to do what Floyd never did. And Floyd doesn't like that. That's why he crashed the post-fight moment, why he's suddenly throwing shade, questioning Crawford's legacy, and now even teasing a potential fight. Floyd knows Bud's win over Canelo stole his shine, and he wants it.
Feeling to be Chris Eubank's trainer, first of all?
It feels good, man. You know what I'm saying? I've been this trainer before, so...
Yeah, it's good.
It's a no-brainer.
Of course. Congratulations on the win. What's your first reactions to Crawford's victory? One of the greats of this era, right?
Oh, definitely that. You know that.
What do you want to see him do now?
What I want to do now?
What do you want to see Crawford do next?
Do what he at this point now in his career where he could do whatever he wanted to do.
Who would you like to see him fight? Any names? Is there any names in particular you'd like to see?
It doesn't matter.
What about Canelo? Would you like to see him retire?
I don't. Canelo's not my responsibility.
Okay.
But here's the truth. Terence Crawford doesn't need Floyd Mayweather. And here's the part fans really need to understand. Floyd has a long history of using fighters only when it benefits him. Crawford was never out here trying to threaten Floyd's legacy. In fact, he respected it. He even trained with Floyd in the past, calling him an influence. But instead of celebrating Bud's achievement after beating Canelo, Floyd tried to downplay it. He said Canelo wasn't that good, instead of praising Crawford for making history. Classic Floyd, always protecting his own shine. And it's not just Crawford. Look at what happened with Gervonta Tank Davis. Floyd built Tank up, used his name to promote him, but the moment Tank wanted to stand on his own, Floyd tried to tear him down and take the spotlight back. It's the same playbook every single time. If a fighter threatens Floyd's status, he shifts the narrative.
Like why would he try to diminish your career?
Because at that time, I don't want to go too deep into it because I don't want to bring up mine. But it was somehow that they were saying that I was messing with his daughter off of the fact that she kept
That's why fans are calling this jealousy. Crawford wasn't attacking Floyd, he was elevating the sport. But Floyd can't stand the idea that someone else is carrying the torch now.
I thought Terence fought a virtuoso fight. Terence never let Canelo get into a rhythm. Terence never allowed Canelo to get anything going, and I didn't think he could do it for 12 rounds. I thought that the first 3 or 4 rounds were going to be difficult for Canelo for that reason, but Terence was able to do it for 12 rounds, and in the later part of the fight, he kind of pushed the fight more than I think people expected, which is the mark of a superstar, man.
For years, Floyd's argument was simple. I'm the pay-per-view king. I'm the biggest draw in boxing.
I'm the fighter of the last century, honestly. and it's the reason why I'm the best fighter of the last 100 years. The credentials show it. And I went out there and showed it. What's better than going out there, being world champion for what, 20 years? Box office, I got the record. Pay-per-view, I got the record. It's better to win half 5 world titles than 4 at one particular time. So.
But now, Crawford is proving he can do the same. The Canelo fight wasn't just a historic win, it was a box office powerhouse. Netflix streamed it worldwide, the stadium was sold out, and millions tuned in, making it one of the most watched fights of the past 20 years.
I thought Terence fought a virtuoso fight. Terence never let Canelo get into a rhythm. Terence never allowed Canelo to get anything going, and I didn't think he could do it for 12 rounds. I thought that the first 3 or 4 rounds were going to be difficult for Canelo for that reason, but Terence was able to do it for 12 rounds, and in the later part of the fight, he kind of pushed the fight more than I think people expected, which is the mark of a superstar, man.
Crawford has shown he's not just the pound-for-pound best, he's the new box office king. He can sell out stadiums, carry pay-per-views, and headline anywhere in the world.
So emotional afterward. Is it that you just realized everything that you achieved, the moment just hit you then?
Yeah, for sure. Like, it's just, the history, behind the sport is just everything that, I trained for my whole life. It all was, coming out that one night. That was all paying off. You have a lot of people that, adopted this narrative that Terence Crawford can't sell, Terence Crawford is not marketable, and they push the narrative to the public, and that's all people write about. Oh, Terence Crawford can't do this, Terence Crawford can't do that. But any one of Terence Crawford fights, you see a sold out crowd, but they wasn't talking about that. They was talking about how, marketable I'm not, and that kind of was hurting my career because, a lot of people was looking at me and said, oh yeah, they said he's not marketable. Or they said he's not, don't have a personality, things like that, because I didn't want to do things their way. I didn't want to put on a show. I didn't want to disrespect my opponents when they wasn't disrespecting me. Right. I wasn't, I'm not a guy that, wear jewelry for no reason. Just the things that I didn't want to do that they wanted me to do. They go out there and say, oh, well, they lost money on me. It's just crazy though to see me headline, not one of the largest attending fight in American history. In American history.
And that's why Floyd is rattled, because Bud isn't just taking over inside the ring, he's taking over outside the ring too. So why did Floyd almost end up fighting Crawford live? Simple, money and relevance. Floyd may be retired, but he's never truly left the spotlight. He's done exhibitions against YouTubers, kickboxers, even MMA fighters, all just to keep the checks coming in. But none of those fights mattered. None had legacy attached to them. A fight with Crawford would be different. It would be the biggest exhibition in history. The undefeated legend versus the undefeated king. Old school versus new school. The man who calls himself TB versus the man many now believe is...
How you is, you be sizing niggas up, bro. Keep it a stack. Did you in your head size up Floyd? Like, you know what I'm saying? If we was ever... Keep it real, boss. Keep it real.
I'm never that type of guy. I think that's some grimy shit. I always been happy for him, been a fan of his, and I never imagined us fighting. Yeah. I never looked at him like, man, I know I'll be this.
But you capping, bro. I never thought like fantasy fight me versus Floyd, nah.
Never. I never just was with a person and looked at him like, man, I'll be this. Never. That's some hate type shit to me.
Like plotting.
I ain't never been that type of person.
For Floyd, it's a chance to cash in big and steal back the headlines. That's why he pushed the controversy, why he almost squared up with Crawford live. He wants to bait Bud into giving him one last mega payday. But here's the twist, Crawford doesn't want it, but has always respected Floyd, calling him a legend, one of the best to ever do it. But he's never been interested in fighting him, and for good reason. For Crawford, fighting Floyd adds nothing to his legacy. Floyd is 48 years old, long past his prime, and hasn't fought at the elite level in nearly a decade. If Bud wins, critics will say, so what? Floyd was old. And if Floyd somehow wins, people will call it a fluke. Either way, it does nothing for Crawford.
I know. And 6 eyes to beat Floyd.
Is Floyd better than you? Keyshawn beat Tank?
Keyshawn beat everybody. Him and Shakur.
How you feel about them not fighting each other? That's cool?
Yeah, that's cool. They don't need to fight each other.
Was there anybody ever...
They can beat up everybody else.
Was there anybody ever like that in boxing with you? Because not really Sean Porter, right?
Nope.
No friends in this business for you?
I think Tim Bradley would have been like that.
Okay.
I think me and Tim Bradley would have been like that. I wouldn't have fought Tim.
If the opportunity presented itself against Floyd, you wouldn't, though, even though you admire him so much and he's so great. But you
Floyd, yeah, because I wasn't as close. Me and Floyd close now, but when Floyd was boxing, I wasn't as close with Floyd like I am now.
How do you beat Floyd, though? Like, since nobody's been able to crack that code.
You think I would tell you?
He ain't fighting anymore. So that fight ain't gonna happen.
You gotta have 4 arms.
I know.
And 6 eyes to beat Floyd.
Is Floyd better than you?
I think you got your answer there.
Nah, I didn't hear nothing. Is Floyd better than you? Some fighters say, even like Gervonta Davis.
Beat your...
Okay, that's a no. That's a no.
That's why Bud isn't chasing Floyd. He's focused on cementing his own legacy, whether that means defending his new throne, moving to middleweight, or retiring undefeated. To him, fighting Floyd isn't history, it's only business. And Bud has never been about clout chasing. So let's call this what it is. Floyd trying to create controversy to sell a fight that only benefits him. Crawford is at the peak of his power, sitting on the throne of boxing. Floyd is the retired legend searching for one more spotlight. Their near brawl wasn't about real anger, it was promotion. Floyd knows controversy sells. He knows debates explode, clips go viral, and suddenly his name is back in the headlines. But at the end of the day, Crawford doesn't need Floyd. In the eyes of many, he's already surpassed him.
That if he beats Canelo, it could put him as even the greatest of all time. What does that put him in the all-time list, man?
At least top 10.
At least
top 10?
top
10 or top 15, easily, you know? There's guys that we may not know of or heard of, like Henry Armstrong. Simultaneously, he was 3 divisions carrying all 3 weight divisions at the same time.
Which performance was better? I don't like to compare them, but Crawford or Mayweather's over Canelo. Like it's just different.
It's just different styles, different looks, you know. But the punching, the output that he was giving Canelo, definitely gave him the win.
The real fight is the narrative: Floyd's legacy versus Crawford's, the old GOAT versus the new king. And after Crawford defeated Canelo, the torch has officially been passed, whether Floyd accepts it or not. So there you have it, Floyd Mayweather almost fought Terence Crawford live. But the real story isn't the scuffle, it's the legacy war underneath. Crawford just beat Canelo Alvarez, became undisputed in 3 divisions, and is being hailed as pound-for-pound #1. He's selling out stadiums, dominating pay-per-view, and many believe his legacy now shines brighter than Floyd's. Floyd wants the spotlight back, not for legacy, but for money and relevance. But Crawford doesn't care. He's already made history, and fighting Floyd won't add a single chapter to his book. What do you think? Should Crawford respond to Floyd's callouts, or leave the past behind and focus on his own future? Drop your thoughts in the comments, and don't forget to like this video and subscribe to Fight Feel.